Manandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadarsham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavaditam Trigunarehitam Satgurum Tam. So, we will start with music and then I'll go back to the... Okay, so you asked me about the music. Well, it's like the sound and music are two very important bridges towards that which is beyond. So, which is why if you look into all the religious disciplines, the sound, music, the chanting, the kīrtans, they all are there in different disciplines. Even in a religion where music is not allowed, there are such religions, believe me, there still is a chanting, which is musical. So, now, I think you know that there are 4 Vedas, the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. The first one is the Rigveda. And the most important mantra of the Rigveda is the Gayatri. The Gayatri Mantra. It's so important that the whole music of it, the tuning of it, the swaras are built into what is called the Gayatri Chandas. And the founder of Gayatri was Vishwamitra, Jayatri. And yet, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna talks to Arjuna and describes his glories, like he says, among the mountains I am the Meru, among the immovables I am the Himalaya, Himachala. Achala means that which does not move. And so on and so forth. Among the Munis, I am Kapila, the founder of Sankhya. When he comes to the Vedas, he says, among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. The Samaveda is the third Veda. Why so much important that Vyasa had to make Krishna say, I am the Samaveda of all the Vedas? Because Samaveda is the root of all the music that exists in India, at least. Because it came from there, so Samaveda is the root of all the music that we have. The swaras, the sthana, everything comes from Samaveda. And Samaveda, if you look at Samaveda, 70%, 65 to 70% of the Samaveda is actually the Rigveda. But the Rigveda is chanted and the Samaveda is sung. So they say Sama Gayanti, I am singing the Samaveda. Now in Indian music, well, I don't know much about Western music, but Western music also, even without words, you can still understand and appreciate. For instance, if you are listening to, let's say, Beethoven, symphonies, Mozart, there is a number of great classical makers of music in the West also. Now, you're listening to Beethoven symphonies, you don't need any language or know any words. It's beyond words. Right? And when what you talk is set into a tune, it has a different impact than just saying something. Now, yesterday this young lady sang the Shabad here. Sung. You can chant Satnam, Satnam, Vaheguru, just chant. When you sing Satnam, 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 Ji, this is different. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru is different. So that's why they sit down with the holy book in the Gurudwaras and sing. In fact, they are called ragis because they sing in a particular raga set. Because that music affects you. Same is the science of kirtan bhajans, where when kirtan and bhajans are sung, it takes a different turn altogether. The effect is different in the mind. It raises us up. There might be music, therefore, which also puts it down. Out of meaningless sounds and all that, might take it down too. So music, therefore, is a very important part of sadhana. Not just, look, we are trying to go beyond the ordinary mind. The ordinary mind is me and my thoughts. And if you look carefully, there is not a single person who can think without a language. At the moment you think there is some language coming into the picture. There are some situations when thought operates without a language, and that's when you're emotional. Like you have fear, you don't need any language. Then it interprets itself in a language later. But when it happens, there is no language. Now this is close to the music, because you can have music and have no words too. If Krishna played the flute, the banshi, the top of the Govardhana, it's sound, right? There is no words. And the gopis forgot everything and ran away. Some even forgot their clothes. Not ran away, ran. Because music. So it's that which is, I would say, a bridge between the known and the unknown. It's closer to the unknown than to the known, although sound is made here, produced by us through the known. Important things to know. Now, also the singing of bhajans and kirtans and kirtis. One of the greatest of the Vedantic teachers, who, giving up all that is unessential, which we discussed, even gave up his clothes. He said it is unessential. And wandered around the south of India for many years. Well, this connects somehow with something else we were discussing. There was catch me if my stories are taking too long. Bring me back to normal. There was a very religious-minded couple living in the south of India. Very good people, very religious-minded, which means not causing harm to others and so on. And they were young, but the husband was so involved in chanting and singing and reading and doing his sadhana practice that he didn't have time for his wife. I mean, they would meet, they would sleep, but beyond that, not much attention. So, some years passed, and it occurred to the wife that according to the Shastras, when you are married, you're supposed to, the fulfillment of the marriage happens only when there is a baby. It's the old traditional thought. So she went to the husband and said, "Look, sir, I know you're a great person, good person, spiritual person. I don't mean to be a barrier to you, but it would be nice if this culminates in some kind of a child, because according to the Shastras, you get married, you have a child, and your lineage is further distributed on this earth." So then she said, she brought in her own logic and said, "You are a very pure-hearted holy man, great scholar, you know, the Vedas and Upanishads. I'm not a bad person. I've never hurt anybody. I look after you. I eat clean food. I help. I cook for you. I do all this. I do service. I do my worship. I'm not a bad person." Now she said, "If, therefore, you and I come together in physical union, so it's quite possible that we might have a child who might be highly spiritual and will benefit the world. Both the genes will go together, who knows? And I somehow have a feeling that some great soul is waiting to come into my womb. So, what do you think about it?" No force. He thought about it and came back to her, and he said, "Look, I'm going to give you a chant." Again, music, sound, chant. Chant this till it becomes a siddhi, which means chant it till the time when you go to sleep, it will be the last thing on your mind, the mantra. In dreams, you will be chanting the mantra also. And when you wake up in the morning, this will be the first thing that appears in your mind. That means it's constant. It's become a siddhi. Do this for 6 months to a year, and then maybe we can have a child, you or me. So the wife, she didn't quarrel, she said, "Okay." And she was given the mantra. The Taraka mantra was given to her by the husband. He chanted it. One day she came back to him and said, "I think what you said has come to pass. When I go to sleep, this is the last thing on my mind. In the dreams, I have caught myself chanting it many times. When I wake up in the morning, it's the first thought in my mind. So maybe it's time for us to have a child." And both of them, anyway, for a long period, they loved each other, but they just didn't have that, they were too caught up in, he was caught up in his computers, she was caught up, anyway, there were no computers at that time. And so, 10 months later, they had a child. It turned out to be a male child. And he was the one who later on became the famous Sadashiva Brahmendra. Sadashiva Brahmendra, I told you, the yogi who found even his clothes not necessary for it. Said it's a barricade. He wandered around the south near the Kaveri basin. There are many stories about him 100 years ago. And he is also the author of the famous many kritis in Sanskrit. Many kritis, of which the most popular one is Pibore Ramarasam. Rasane Pibore Ramarasa, that one. a great yogi. He served as the Asthana Vidwan of the Maharaj of Mysore, where he was engaged in having scholarly discussions with whoever came and defeating them in their discussions. And once he defeated them, he said, "Go home now, what are you doing here?" So one day, somebody visited the Maharaj of Mysore and went back to meet Sadashiva Brahmendra's guru, who was a sannyasi, a monk, forget his name. So he asked him, "How is my disciple doing in the palace?" He said, "Oh, well, he's become very famous. Nobody can beat him in the discourses and discussions that he gives. But we feel that he has become too arrogant because his speech is so wonderful." Oh, he said, "Really? Ask him to come here." So he came back and his teacher said, "I heard that you have become so arrogant because you have the blessings of Saraswati on your tongue." He said, "Maybe, perhaps you're right." He said, "But why? Now we are going to be absorbed in the supreme reality. Why would you get caught up in this?" Meanwhile, he had written all the kīrtanas. Everything has been, otherwise we would have lost it. So the moment he heard it, he said, "Okay, from now on I'm not talking." And he stopped. And this kind of people are rare. He stopped talking, so he was a mauni. So if you look at this life, couple of things. One is the grit and the obedience to the teacher. And second, that he was so involved in the music. He said, through singing these kīrtanas, you can reach there. And this is a pure Vedantin saying this. Vedantins normally say all this tamasha is not required. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. Right? So why I said coming from Sadashiva Brahmendra is indeed a wonderful thing. The other is, in the Vedic times, all the mantras, whatever mantras were chanted, Taittiriya, any mantra, Gayatri, they were all tuned to a certain, you don't simply chant a mantra, you learn how to chant it, and then, because apart from the meaning of the mantra, the sound of the Bijas, the Aksharas, they all have an effect on the system. Of course, it is accepted that the most important sound is Om. In many Upanishads, including the Mandukya, including Mandukya we discussed, Mundaka, for instance, Kathopanishad, for instance, they consider Om to be the one sound that is the primeval sound and the bridge between this and that, this world and that. Even other mantras, they are tuned. You can chant the mantra, but if you chant in the particular cadence that is given to it, then it has a completely different effect on your psyche and to the outside world. The Gayatri, Om Bhuvasvarat Savitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. This is the Chandas. Many places nowadays I hear Gayatri being sung. Gayatri is not to be sung. This is the Chandas in which the Gayatri is. I went to Kutch one day. I found somebody has made some tape in his reversing in the car. So when it says, Om Bhurvasvarat, can you pull that thing out? Disrespect to the whole system of chanting. You know, it's become a popular tune now. Okay, it can be, but when you come to mantra like Gayatri, this is not what you should be doing. You should know how, if you chant it properly, it has a proper effect on you. Like that, there are many mantras. I don't want to go into all the details. So, if singing can be developed into a sadhana, it's a wonderful thing. This is why I said all this. Plus, the system of music which was built in India, I don't know the classical system of the West, has what are called Swadhisthānas, which means Sa-re-ga, this is not a music class. Sa-re-ga-ma-pa-da-ni-sa, sa-ni-ra-pa-ma-ga-re-sa, down. This is Hindustani, but even class. So, you see this, the lower sa, the upper sa and so on. There are certain forms of japa and yoga, especially when the great classical singers sing, they combine it with the breath, the deep breath, which starts from here. Of course, breath is here, but in the mind it starts down. So that breath which is in the Mūlādhāra is the sa. Breath in the Svādhiṣṭhāna, re, ga. Each chakra is connected to one Swadhisthāna. So if you can figure that out when you sing, then it will awaken that center. When you do Chakradhana, we'll get to know what this is all about. So it's a very important thing. Plus, even if you don't know it, it still has its effect because it is sound. Right? Okay. So now a couple of things. Another angle of looking at what we were trying to figure out in the morning. There's an ancient mantra. I'm not about how to chant it, okay? That's over, that department at the moment. Yeah. There's a mantra called, very ancient mantra which is chanted very often, but unfortunately since the language has become not known these days, you don't know what you're chanting. So, the mantra is Om Purnamadah Purnam Idam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate. This is the mantra, very ancient. It means the origin of everything, from where this entire universe has come. The thing that looks like nothing when you open the seed is by its very nature, intrinsic nature, completeness, purna. Fullness, completeness, purna, the origin. And which means, and then the next one is, that of course, maybe the origin is purna, we don't know, that's fine with me. But what has it got to do with me? I don't seem to be purna. I'm always incomplete, I'm not complete, I'm not full, I'm always empty, trying to fill it with something or the other. I'm incomplete, trying to complete myself. So therefore the next statement of the mantra sounds a little bit strange because it says Purnam Idam, this is also Purna. While our daily experience is it's not Purna, it is Apurna. It's not complete, it's not full, it needs to be filled. All our sensory enjoyments are to fill the void. We can't sit for 2 minutes with thinking of nothing in particular. We are wasting time, we need to fill up. The whole of life, the evolution is trying to find fulfillment. Fulfillment. So, Purnam Idam doesn't seem to work, though it is chanted. A whole life, I have this much money, it's not enough, I want more. It becomes more terrible when I say I have 5 children, not enough, I need more. The thing is, idea of our life is built on how to complete or fulfill what is empty. This is life. Nothing wrong. That's how it is built in the system. Or, I'm here now, I'm alone. I'm happy, I go for a while. Then I think, maybe I'll be happier if I become double. I can share my happiness so that I get somebody else. And then you can figure out if I do really get happy, it's up to you. For some time maybe. And so on. So there seems to be a vacuum which we are trying to fill. When the Upanishad says this is already full, as it is full, the origin is full, you are also full. Now the problem here is that while it is true that we are incomplete and we should try and fill it, this is a very strange thing. It depends and is relative and depends from person to person. Once I did not have a car. I thought, if I have a car, my life is becoming blissful when I buy a car. I drive it along till somebody says, hey, this, I went yesterday and got myself a Land Rover. Then you look at Google. Now, Google is available for everything. Oh, this is the Land Rover. And it gives you 100 sentences on why it is the best car in the world. If you want to buy that, then you start gathering more money. Then you buy. I'm not saying you should not buy, just look at the thought process. And then I buy a Land Rover, I'm happy for a year or so. Till one morning I open my window and I see my neighbor has a Rolls Royce. Now I'm not complete again. It goes on, it is endless. It's endless. The reason being, according to the Upanishads, is this search for this fulfillment and completeness and fullness is in the wrong direction. There's nothing wrong, it's built in the system, but in the wrong direction. The rishis say if you could turn it around and look at the source from which these desires arise in the mind, you'll probably find the essence of all being, and there is fulfillment. What you have, what you don't have, it has nothing to do with that. It's by its very nature full, Purna. This is what we're trying to figure out. So it's a process of what the Upanishads call a Nivritti Marga, as opposed to the Pravṛtti Marga. Pravṛtti is looking for outside satisfaction. Nivritti is looking for inner satisfaction. And if you don't have the inner satisfaction, whatever you possess in this world, it means nothing. You're still looking for it. Looking. This is one thing I wanted to share with you. Okay. Now, how are we going to share this between you and me? This teaching of Kriya, technique. It should be, as I explained in the morning, it's not a mass phenomenon. Each individual has to evolve in their own way. While the key would be given, how you use it, in what manner you use it depends largely on you. Okay, so what are we going to do in Kriya? First of all, and let me explain this. We understand in yogic terms or in Sankhya terms or in yoga terms or in Vedantic terms, doesn't matter, that our mind, which is caught up in nature, in this gross nature, which is Prakriti, physical, has to be released from here, and our awareness has to be shifted to subtler levels, where our awareness is normally in a very gross level of existence on this earth. And we need to figure out how to make it finer and finer, so the subtle understanding of other realms and other levels of consciousness occurs to us. At one step, it's not possible to jump from the three-dimensional world awareness to that which is beyond. So we can only go step by step. And in this step by step, you all have a chart, right? This. So, I'm going to explain to you something which is to do with Kriya later on. But it's good to know now, so when you take up the practice, then you know how to apply it. Our understanding is that in general, for all of us, our awareness operates from a center called the Mūlādhāra, which is at the bottom of the spine. Although we like to think we are using the brain, yes we are, but our awareness operates from the Mūlādhāra. Mūlādhāra is the one shown at the bottom of the spine in the human system. And this center is the center of enjoyment, excretion, sex, which is enjoyment of course, procreation. You see, it is the center from which a complete living human being is created. And it's the center which is the most important for most human beings, because you give food and you have shelter, and the next one thinks of a healthy human being is sex. And then through that reproduction happens. And what is reproduction? From a small offering of the seed into the homakunda, which is the feminine yoni, a whole human being is created. It's a sacrifice. A whole human being is created, thinking, talking, walking, and independent. So how creative is that energy that stays in the Mūlādhāra? So therefore that energy is called the Parashakti, the supreme energy, which stays in the human being, normally at the bottom of the spine in the Mūlādhāra. Sometimes represented by a snake, a cobra, and also called the Kundalini. Be careful, because I don't like to use the word, because it's bandied about quite a bit. In internet you can raise the Kundalini $2,000. We are all fools who are trying hard to... Anyway, so this is the energy that's at the Mūlādhāra. So it's at the grossest level possible in what you call Prakriti, which means nature. And it's represented by a square, because a square represents the two-dimensional aspect of a cube. A cube is the solid object that we have, kind of primary object. And so conceive that our awareness is resting there now. In its finest aspect, it could enjoy the pleasures of sex or anything related to it in some way. Now what our job is to raise your awareness from that to take it to subtler levels. And just above the Mūlādhāra, you will see there in the picture, is what you call the Svādhiṣṭhāna. Swadhisthāna is the next level of energy and awareness where it becomes subtler than the purely physical object. Like if you have a cube, you need to shift it from here till here, you need to take it out and keep it. But if it's a liquid, it will flow. You don't have to lift it. It flows. So the next level, Swadhisthāna, is the center of what is called the Apas Tattva. Apas meaning watery, not water, watery, liquid. And the symbol there is a Chandrakala. Chandrakala, crescent moon. Crescent moon is a symbol of imagination. So many love stories have been written under the crescent moon, or even a full moon. Moon is connected to your imagination. Controlled imagination is a great tool, sankalpa. And it represents the watery tattva, which means the next subtle awareness after the physical. This is the Svādhiṣṭhāna. It's represented by a very thin crescent. It's a powerful symbol anyway because it fires the imagination and gets you moving. And it can create anything it desires. In fact, when the yogi consciously leaves the physical body and coming back, of course not finally, this is the center that is used, the Svādhiṣṭhāna. So, constant meditation on Svādhiṣṭhāna will make you more imaginative, more connected with the subtle level of astral matter than the physical. It is also the center of moving out of the body, the center of sankalpa, creation. And it is the same crescent that sits on the head of Shiva. Why? Because moon is also called Soma. And this is Soma Shekhara, one who holds the moon on himself. It's also on the head of all the Shaktis, Durga, Kali, you look at all the Shaktis. This symbol is so powerful, it has in historical times used by different people even to capture power, putting it on their flag and marching forth, not realizing how ancient a symbol it is. Almost conquered 3/4 of the world with the crescent. Somehow in time somebody stopped it, but what I mean is, if you know how to use it, it is a powerful symbol. So what we are trying to do in Kriya, one part of Kriya, is to shift your awareness from the solid to the liquid state, which means gross to subtler, Swadhisthāna. And when your imagination, which is connected to Luna, which is the moon, goes wonky without control, then it adds a tick at the end. Luna? So be careful. So, I mean not. So, and then the next center, look at your finger. We will need it when we do the chakra dharana, that's what I'm explaining. And the next one is the Agni center, the center of fire, which is in the Manipura, just near the solar plexus. And this is the center of fire, combustion, Agni. From ancient times, fire has been worshipped as the purifier. It has been worshipped as that which burns away all the dross and leaves only what is pure. It's a symbol of the spirit because one spark can create a forest fire, right? And it is fire that also represents desire. Desire is like a fire, it can burn off anything, it's sufficiently strong. You're always fired with the zeal to do something. You never are watered with the zeal. Fired. So fire is an ancient symbol of the spirit. It is the intermediate between the gross and the subtle. So when the awareness is lifted in meditation from the Swadhisthāna, from the watery, and then heated up, it's also the center of the deity who we worship as the Sri Vidya. It is the fire that burns everything off. It's the fire that takes you up to higher levels. So this is the Homakunda, where the fire of creativity burns. So the symbol is a triangle with its apex up like a flame, and the color is of course fire. We realize that the word ignition comes from igne, which is fire. And Sanskrit is Agni, of course, a little bit changed. So without an ignition, you cannot start any engine. And this is the ignition. Then, as your awareness is lifted to a subtler level, you come to the next center, which is the heart center. You call it the Hridaya Chakra or Anahata. In the Anahata, why is it called Anahata? Because when you give complete attention to Anahata, you hear some sounds which are not external, which are not created by striking two things together. And it's the center of Vayu, which is wind, which simply means air, vapor. You heat water and it becomes vapor. It's another state of matter, but it is a state that requires no shape. Vapor can be caught in any shape. Right? So here you have lifted your awareness from the solid to the liquid levels, not actually symbols, to then fired it with Agni, and then now it has become Vayu. Color is sky blue, and it's the nature of air, which is everywhere but cannot be seen, can only be felt. So we have come a long way. Solid and liquid, we need to feel to know it's air. I mean, we can touch. Fire, you can feel the heat. Air, but you can't say it doesn't exist because it is there. You can't see it. So you have now traced your attention to a higher level, subtler level. Then you come to the throat, which is the Vishuddhi. The Vishuddhi, you look at your chart, is symbolized by an ellipse, and the color is deep violet or purple. And it represents Akasha. So when you say Akasha, it means the primordial substance from which all other substances have come through differentiation. What means undifferentiated mass, undifferentiated primordial stuff from which this whole world and its different elements are created through differentiation. Let's put it this way. It's the first frequency that remains, which later on changes to lower frequencies, and we see all the other matter. Well, it's a well-known fact now, everybody understands that every kind of matter has a frequency. Consider that there is one complete original frequency from which this is stepped down, little by little, till we see this material. So when your mind has reached there, when your awareness has reached Vishuddhi, you're touching Akasha. And if you become an expert in touching Akasha, then you can also change the frequencies of the primordial substance, perhaps. Because you are going closer to that which operates the whole system. Then you come to the next center, which is called Ajna, which is the center between the eyebrows, but actually between the eyebrows is a symbol. It actually goes inside. If you draw a straight line from here and a straight line from the crown, in the mid-brain where they meet together, this is the ajna, real ajna. It's close to the pineal gland, let's say. Now don't get stuck with the pineal gland. Nowadays everybody talks about the pineal gland. So, well, but it so happens that it is close to the pineal gland. It's the center which is the border between, we said something else about this, that sound, we said is the link between this and that. In the same way, this is a link between this and that. According to the yogis, behind this is the Brahmarandra, from which the awareness enters the doorway of Brahman and then ultimately to the Supreme Reality. So, this is the ajna. And then the last center is the Sahasrara. The Sahasrara is the center where one connects with this all-pervading Supreme Reality. It's one place where the mind in its very subtle form can kind of touch it or be aware of it. And also figure out that when it's fully aware of it, then the mind has lost its individual. There is only that. This is the Sahasrara. So, from gross to the subtle, to the subtle, to the subtle, to the subtlest we have. Now this we do as an actual yogic practice. This is Kriya. Some more aspects I'll explain. Any questions regarding this? We have 10 minutes to go. Yes, the Ajna Chakra is center, Ajna Padma, is supposed to be in the center of the head, going straight from here, although it can be activated by fixing your attention here, but it goes inside, because from the limbic system, there are two amygdala things coming right almost up to here. So when you fix your attention there, the vibrations can be taken there, like a wire. Yeah. If you say, is there a connection here? Yes, the Brahmarandra is supposed to be here above the medulla. But you can't go there and touch, you can touch only the ajna. So the switch is the ajna. The opening may be here, yes? Say that?
You said the Vishuddhi is an ellipse, but it looks like a circle to me.
It's a circle?
I mean, at least in the picture.
Have they made a circle? Actually, it's elliptic.
It's elliptical, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's like putting an egg like this.
Understand. And the Ajna Chakra, what does it symbolize? You said Vishuddhi is...
Ajna Chakra, the symbol, is a pure white little silver white linga with two white petals on either side. This is how it is symbolized.
So are they like, okay, traditionally it's represented as lotuses, right? So when you look at it, right, I mean, all the diagrams are like showing that, but they are traditionally like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So here it's almost like a linga.
Yes. Yes.
So in this case, sir, like Manipura Chakra, when you're looking at the symbol, the triangle where the apex is behind, it is on the lotus sitting like a apex, like...
Let me explain to you. Two reasons. They are called chakras because there is a movement of energy there. You see what happens? This you will get to know as we go along. We have to explain that. I'll explain it when I come. That there are two energies moving in our system, which is the plus and the minus, the yin and the yang or whatever. Now this is represented by the pingala and the sushumna and the ida through two channels. I'll explain it in detail afterwards because we need to. These are the places where these come together. So one kind of energy comes from one direction, another comes from the other. This is the minus and the plus, the anode and the cathode. So therefore, wherever two energies are moving together, there is a whirlpool. So this is why it's called a chakra, because it is moving. Chakra. Chakra means a wheel, right? Wheel. So, and why are they called Padmas? Because usually they are not activated, they are closed, like the lotus. There is no lotus sitting there. It's not activated. So when you apply the proper whatever you have to do, then it opens up, which it blossoms. Even better than the blossom foundation. So it blossoms, and when it blossoms, then therefore it's called a Padma. So if you symbolically want to meditate on it, one way is to think of a chakra, or just think of the symbol that we have given here, placed there. You may also think of a Padma if you like, if you prefer it, a lotus. So what will I do if I come to the Manipura? I will have a lotus there. And the lotus, on the lotus there will be a fire. In the middle of the lotus. That fire is like a triangle, going upwards.
So the first frequency that's different from Om, right? It says hum here, so is that the first frequency?
No. The Om, when I explain further, you'll get to know this. I'm talking about matter. Matter in its undifferentiated state, before it has become other elements and so on. In its uniform frequency. Beyond matter is the Om.
Namaste, sir. Sir, are the colors important? For different chakras, are the colors important?
Colors are important because these are the colors that the rishis have seen while meditating on the center. So the hope is that when you meditate on those colors, it will also activate for you. You can do without colors if you feel like it.
Okay. And it's consistent always? Like, for example, when we talk about the Mūlādhāra Chakra, that's meant to be
golden yellow.
Golden yellow, okay.
Because Prakriti's color is yellow, golden yellow. Prakriti is earth.
Okay.
Fire is red, so
Correct.
this is...
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now when I come back, we will discuss a little bit about Kriya and then carry on for tomorrow. And I will also teach you a simple, concise Kriya technique which we call the Hamsa. Generally, this is the only thing that is taught for many years, but then nowadays we need to change and teach other things also. But so you will learn the whole Kriya tomorrow, traditional whole Kriya from the beginning to end. But I am going to give you also the Hamsa today when I come back, because this is a small, concise technique which can be practiced anywhere. And if you combine it with the Kriya that you are going to learn, then at the end of Kriya, before you finish, before you start your silent meditation, it is very important, incumbent on you that you will meditate after Kriya. Because the effect of the Kriya is reflected when you meditate silently, not otherwise. So, before you do that, for a few seconds you can practice the Hamsa and then go into meditation. So when I come back, I am going to also give you the Hamsa. Now this Hamsa is independent of any other Kriya practice. You can just chant the Guru Mantra, then sit under a tree or anywhere you like, close your eyes and do a little bit of Hamsa. That's wonderful. So I'll give you that first, because while you're traveling, you're on an aircraft, you can stay, it's non-intrusive, nobody will know even what you're doing. I'm against people who sit in the flight and start and all. So what about the other passengers? So I'm going to give you the really it's a fact. Some people get... a German friend of mine once complained to me, I was flying into India, he was coming to see me, he said, there was a guy sitting near me, suddenly he thought he's going to have a convulsion, a fit. He called the air hostess, please, what's going on here? He said, I am doing my pranayam. So, we will do that when I come back. First, I will explain a little more about this, and then we will do the Hamsa Kriya, which you can practice. Today, we have a meditation session afterwards. So what you do is practice the Hamsa and go into meditation. A simple thing to do. I have also known some people who just with the Hamsa have gone wherever they have to go. So, thank you. See you.